it going? Come on now. There we go. Hey everyone. How is everyone out there in computer land? Computer land was a store back in the day. You could buy floppy disks with Oregon Trail and stuff like that. Trying to think of some other old video game names. I don't know. I don't know. I'm rinsing my ear though. This is part of my Morgellons protocols, as they call them. Okay, so I've shown the mud and I've many examples of the river and earth grounding, and I've shown the fireworks. I'm using the elements. I guess I'd call it the elemental system: air, water, earth, fire. All right, because there's the earth, that is the grounding, and it also is the mud. And the mud is also some water, so they blend together there. And the water is the rivers. Air. Well, we got to get the air, I guess. Fire is the fire, obviously. And this would fall under the category of water by the old alchemical standards, because anything a liquid was considered a water, but that didn't mean they thought that every liquid was water. That's just how, the very beginnings of the concepts is a liquid was referred to as a water, I think. So air, water, earth, and fire, it's the only liquid. This is methyl alcohol, and it's highly flammable. So I gotta be careful not to have any sparks or open flame. Oddly enough, it's a very light alcohol, so I've gotten it in my eyes before, and well, it's not pleasant. It's not horribly painful. I just kind of squint my eyes and wipe, and as long as I keep my eyes closed, it doesn't even really hurt. But I can't open them, and it's also very vaporous, so I got to be careful not to be in too confined of a space or have the air, the breeze blowing it up towards me, because you want to try and breathe the vapors. It'd probably be like that chloroform or something and knock you out. But all that being said, I discovered this stuff back in the day, long ago, when people used to make their own drugs and stuff. You probably heard some of that happened in the 90s and the aughts, and then it just kind of went away. Although there's more crappy, worthless dope than ever on the streets, crappy and worthless, and it's nothing really. It's not comparative to what was made back in the day. It's not even the same thing. It's not even close. It's not even slightly close. It's bullshit. And there's 10 dealers on every corner, and they never run out. So that tells me that the old gov has taken it over. That's right, and they flooded the market with their product, and that's the only thing there is, and their product sucks ass because it's mostly mind-controlled drugs and poison. So there you go. Now, proof that drugs will kill you. And they're making sure it will. But I digress. I learned about this stuff because this is what people would use with their Sudafed pills. The 60s, 20s or 60s, or mini thins, preferably the old mini thins without much buffer in them. Oh, those were the shit. You get an 8-ball per bottle. But I digress. You pour this stuff on it and you let it sit, and it extracts the crystalline Sudafed out of the buffer and leaves the buffer behind, and then filter it, and you dry it out, evaporate it away, which happens really quickly, and you have your powdered Sudafed for your next step. So it tells me this will dissolve crystalline structures. Well, these nanoparticulate metals are crystalline, and I don't know, I don't really have the vocabulary of chemical terms in order to describe it in that manner. So I'm just going to say that this alcohol is very light, and so it's very absorbative, and it will absorb its crystallines. Well, the sparkles that come out of the skin are crystals. There's Morgellons crystal pictures galore on the internet. Of it looks like rubies and sapphires in people's skin under microscopes, and this stuff rinses it right off. But it also takes something out of the hair follicles that's causing to be, to have swelling and pain issues actually there. It seems to do that too. And it absorbs that stuff. And a lot of the places I have the issues with. In fact, the Morgellons fungus aspect, the fiber, seems to be concentrated from the crack of your ass to the top of your head and all along your spine and up the sternum in the middle too, because I quite frequently I've had to burn this area like here, and it doesn't burn me, but it vaporizes the stuff out of my skin, and then I'll clean it off. I'll rinse it off with a little bit of this, wipe it down, wait until it's all evaporated, and feel my skin, and it feels waxy still. And so I take the torch and just lightly glaze over it, and whoosh, big old vaporous clouds of smoke, right? Go figure. I'm sure it's perfectly normal, and I'm just crazy. So anyway, my ears were really bad. As a video I got, my constantly bleeding earlobe. It's around the time that I had made the video called Commando Solo as Mind Control, and I'm all bloody and stuff because my eyebrows were bleeding and my ear skin just kind of peeled back and started to be exposed, and it felt like piranhas were chewing off my ear for about 3 months. And that was after having, a year-long headache and ears ringing constantly, and 10,000 planes a day flying over the house at about 1,200 feet. And I'm the only one who seemed to notice this or think that there was anything funny with it. I guess I'm just weird like that. But anyway, so when I feel I could feel it, like my hair wouldn't grow on my cheeks, and I shave now, so you don't see it, but at that time there was patches that just wouldn't grow, and where the hair would not grow normal, and if hair did grow there, it was at the wrong angle, and it was excessively thick and white. Like my mom would say, "Oh, you're just getting old," and I'm like, "No, this didn't just happen all of a sudden." Over the course of 6 or 8 months, I go from basically feeling and thinking I'm okay to continuous headache, ears ringing, the hair stops growing on my face, and I got white hairs growing at odd angles everywhere, and sparkly skin, and giant swollen purple-orange forearms, and my feet looked like multicolored pink and purple and white and yellow and bullshit. So anyway, that's what that's when I started looking for my own solutions. I came up with some mud baths, and that did so much for me that I started going, okay, well, earth grounding, and then I went with rinsing with water. There was one point, and it was in the wintertime, many years ago, and I didn't make any videos of it because I was just too messed up to even do it at the time. But we had a well there, and my head hurt so bad, and throbbing headache and just fever, basically. And it would get incredibly worse every time one of these airplanes would go over, and we just had an absolute continuous caravan of airplanes for months on end out over Vancouver at that time. It's actually less now than it used to be. And I would have to be outside in the wintertime even with the hose running, pouring water over over the back of my head and down my neck and over the top of my head and my shoulders for 10, 20 minutes, and then I'd have to do it again 20 minutes later, and then do it again 20 minutes later, and do it again 20 minutes later, because I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up, earlobe bleeding open, head throbbing, and sounding like inside my head with the continuous headache. So I mean, I didn't make any videos of it. I was too messed up to function to work the camera, and I don't think I could have kept it charged. It's just, so it's not like I just pulled all these things out of my ass or something. There's history behind how I developed each of my protocols: the fire, the water, the grounding. And this alcohol is good stuff. Don't drink it, though. It's poisonous. It will make you sick, if not kill you, if you drink it, so don't drink it. It says right on there not to drink it. When I pour some in my ear, it seems to break the connections of the fibers, and I know it absorbs crystallines and it breaks up oils in the skin, which allows more stuff that's trapped in your pores and in the, I don't know, earwax or sweat or whatever. It dissolves the bonds on that and helps rinse the stuff out. When I pour it into my ear, which it doesn't hurt a bit. In fact, if anything does hurt at all with this, it numbs it pretty well fairly quick, and then the numbness wears off right away. It's not like it stays numb like Novocaine or anything, but it just doesn't hurt really. I mean, and it leaves your skin feeling just fine. When I first was messing with this, I told my mom about it. She's like, "It's gonna dry out your skin," and I thought, well, it is alcohol, maybe it will, but it doesn't. For some reason, it just absorbs crap out of my skin. So anyway, put it in my ear, and it sounds like it's like when it would pull pills with this, when you pour the alcohol onto the tablets, they begin to bubble, and each bubble is a transfer taking place of the Sudafed in the pill going into the liquid, and then because of the chemical reaction, it releases something, probably hydrogen, I don't know, hydrogen, oxygen, but it makes a bubble, and you can see it. When I put it into my ear, it sounds like blah, 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 blah. It goes for quite a while, and just to show you that I do it and I'm still alive and I can still hear, and see here, there we go. It goes, and I get it, and down my neck too, and gotta watch out for the vapors though, and just kind of scrub this stuff in. And this is what is saving my fucking life, because I was at the point when I came up with the first mud baths and started going to the river every day, that another month of that, it had already been like a year and a half straight, and one or two more months and I would have just killed myself, because there's no way to function, and live that way. You can't. I think that's why the suicide rate is so high right now, and homeless people are dying in mass and killing themselves, right? Oh, they're depressed because they're on drugs and they're homeless. That's why they're doing it. They're too lazy to work. Yeah, fucking bullshit. We're all poisoned. Hello, McFly. Hello, Mr. TV watcher, which is probably not you, but the people who go to their doctor and take the pills they're given and watch TV news and think that wars are legit and necessary or for some reason, and all that bullshit. Those are the people who think, oh yeah, the homeless people, they're all druggies that don't want to work, and that's why they're in the streets. And a lot of homeless people, they end up starting to do drugs or do serious drugs because they're in the street, not because they did drugs and then became homeless. So they became homeless because of a whole lot of bullshit and failing health. A lot of the time, with Morgellons, you don't even know your health is going to be affected the way it is. The symptoms start slow, and if you don't go to your doctor and get his pills or treatments to offset the symptom, which will call one thing, oh, you've got this symptom, oh, well, that's blah blah blah, here, have this pill, here's some fucking Humira, or whatever the fuck they give for each individual thing, as if any disorder is something separate, as if there's not some common factor that ties them all together. And there is. There most certainly is. Anybody who pays attention will come to realize that there is. I have the ability to notice things like that, I guess. That was my gift, right? Oh, great. I get to know how fucked up things are because I can tell. Anyway. So, I just let that rinsed out, and voila, pain disappears. The ringing in my ears tones down. The swelling in my skin tones down. My feet are getting better even. They're still kind of messed up looking, but this thing here is like 25% of what it was 3 weeks ago. And a lot of that's been the mud baths. Like I said, back in the day, my arms and my feet were both the same. They were fucked up. They're not great yet, but way improved. So that's one of my protocols, and I get my knees too, because for some reason, this area right here, this looks like a little fat roll, right? That's right there on the knee, and it actually is this slightly discolored area that's all over the knee, over the kneecap, and then down the inside right there. And then see this pink spot? These come to the surface wherever this stuff is under your skin. That's not my muscle. That is some sort of mucusy, buildup of something underneath the skin, at the muscle, right over the muscle. Same thing over here, I can just flex it and it makes it stand out. And it's, on the muscle, but it's not the muscle. That's not the muscle. This is the muscle. And right here is this kind of mucusy fucking area. I noticed there's this little, I call it jowly. There's kind of a jowl on my knee, right? And it used to be like, if you go swimming for a long time and come out of the water, you ever, you go to the locker room or whatever at the pool, and you like look at your leg, and right in this area, as you're sitting, it looks like it's the skin just kind of like there's some sort of fat under there or something that's real, pronounced. That is where this stuff likes to congregate and build up, whatever the Morgellons is, whether it's the toxin there or whether that's the fungus headquarters or what. I can't say for sure. But that's one of the evidences of it. Also, like hair stopped growing on my feet, I noticed, and on my toes, and it's starting to grow back again a little now. But when my feet were all swollen and purple, it did not grow. That was a Morgellon symptom. The swelling, my eyebrows and stuff. My eyebrows look like, when I look at old pictures of myself now, I'm like, geez, how did it get to that? I look like Frankenstein fucking eyebrows and shit, like all swole up out here in the corners, like what the fuck? A lot of that is gone now. There's just a little swelling right there, and you can see it. The sides of the head, the temples. I think to myself, I got to make a video, call it, you must purify the temples with fire, because fire is what's taking it off of my head. And I have yet to burn myself. And where I get the swelling to come off of my head, it will oftentimes, skin will split open. It'll bleed out the infected plasma stuff afterwards, like after, several days or weeks of hitting the same area with a little flame, vapor. And eventually it eases up and stops refilling itself so quickly. It'll bleed out the stuff. I'll have relief of the skin issues and the itching and whatever types of phantom touch sensation, which is a lot. The phantom touch. Yeah, that's some bullshit, but it happens. It's real. I mean, it's bullshit that it happens. It's microwaves. I'm sitting here, it feels like something is creeping up my neck and the hairs are starting to change color, and I'm watching my skin swell and move, and then an airplane comes flying over, and it's the only time that happens is when airplanes are coming towards me. And airplanes fly everywhere all the time now. I guess there's millions of good reasons to fly an airplane slowly over homes all day, every day, in a busy modern world, right? Ridiculous. The amount of air travel there's not a need for the amount of planes that are flying right now. There isn't. Not everybody in the fucking world is taking a vacation at the same fucking time and all going by plane over Portland, Oregon and Vancouver, Washington. I mean, it's just stupid to even think that, people they don't question anything. People just, they automatically just, this funny too. It rinses still on my toenails. They just think that any air traffic has got a perfectly good reason for it, and it's absolutely legitimate because they don't fly planes. Ow, cut. They don't fly a plane without a purpose, without a flight plan. Without filling up the tank and having a reason to fly it. Unless you're a private pilot and you got your own plane and you're just gonna go tool around, right? So every private pilot in Vancouver has got their tank filled and they're ready to go every single day, and they fly all day every day, and then they land their plane and they get up bright and early the next morning and do it again every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm having fun in an airplane 1,200 feet over houses and overlapping circles all day. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, I'm just starting to ramble now. I had a point. My point was, this is the alcohol. This is the easiest way to get it. You can buy it at, in larger amounts for less money, and this was like $3, but it's like $2 at the auto parts store. It's the yellow one is just the alcohol without any isopropyl in it. I think that you wouldn't want that. You can feel the difference. I mean, it's basically feels the same or similar to rubbing alcohol, or that 90% alcohol that you can get in the first aid area. But that alcohol feels thick when it pours on your skin. It feels thick and like it coats kind of, and then it evaporates, but it feels heavy and thick, whereas this feels very light and watery and evaporates really fast. So if you're rinsing something off with it, you would want to, squeegee it off. Kind of like, say if I wanted to rinse this area, I would go like that, and then it would be soaked in, and then I would squeegee it off with my finger before it has a chance to evaporate. Otherwise, whatever it absorbed will just still be there, obviously. So yeah, there's my video. This is one of my Morgellons protocols. I'm not giving medical advice to anybody because Morgellons isn't a real disorder. So how could I be giving medical advice about an imaginary disorder? That would make no sense at all. And since it's all imaginary, the power of the imagination, you see, if you think there's something wrong with you, well, then your symptoms will develop because it's your imagination. The power of the imagination is amazing. So yeah, it's an imaginary disorder, and so my Morgellons protocol treatments are just that. They're for my imaginary disorder. I don't suggest anybody do what I do. I'm just telling people what I do because I like to, get it off my chest, and then I feel better now. Oh, okay, that's good. I feel better now. All right. Thank you for watching my video and helping me to deal with my imaginary disorder. Have a nice day.